have a job. How are you going to start up a job if you have government bureaucrats all over you? And then if you don't have a job, of course, then you have to go to the government begging for food. And that leads us to the next. It's a rumor. This may not be true, but I heard it through the grapevine. It may be a rumor. I heard that Donald Trump is also thinking about another executive order. And this one's very interesting also, because it also pertains to bloodsuckers. This executive order has to do with people who do not contribute to society. We're talking about protesters who get government subsidies. Now, as the rumor goes, the police are going to now check the IDs of anybody out there protesting. Just check their ID, write it down, cross-reference it with any government subsidies, aka welfare. If you're going to be out there protesting against Donald Trump, if you're going to protest against the government, fine and dandy, but don't expect a handout. Don't expect food stamps, a SNAP card, Section 8. Your government subsidies are cut off, so there's no reason for the police to take their baton out and beat you in the head with it. There's no reason for the police to come down hard on you. No, all they do is write your name down on a piece of paper. And if you get government subsidies, it'll be cross-referenced in the computer, and guess what? Your government welfare check is eliminated. Surprise, surprise, all the protests end immediately. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm just hearing this through the grapevine. It's not official yet, and quite frankly, I don't even think this executive order has to be signed. All Donald Trump has to do is go out there and threaten to do it. Talk about it one day. He said, I'm thinking about signing this executive order, and once these little snowflakes find out that all their benefits are going to be cut off, no more SNAP card, no more food stamps, no more Section 8, well, they'd be forced to go out and find a job, wouldn't they? They wouldn't have time to do any protesting because they'd have to look for work. But guess what? There'd be no cushy government job available for them because there's a hiring freeze. Yeah, this gets better and better. So they'd have to get out there just like my grandfather did during the Great Depression, and they're going to have to sweep the streets for minimum wage. They're going to have to clean the toilets, again, for minimum wage. It's going to be tough. It always is when you're young and you don't have any skills. Oh, they might even have to ask grandma or grandpa if they can live in the basement while they get by, because the minimum wage, they will not be able to afford their McMansion house. They're not going to be able to afford that big college program that makes them into idiots anyhow. You know, they're going to have to get a job. That's how young people grow, with character. They get a job, and if it's cleaning toilets, so be it. Oh, they're not going to like it. No, these little snowflakes are going to protest, and they'll keep on crying like little babies.
Veterans helping veterans is our mission, because we are Warfighter Man. Following 9/11, America's been at war longer than any time in her history, with thousands of veterans seeing combat. Readjusting to life at home with visible and invisible wounds is not easy. But Monster Energy Supercross and Toyota are on a mission to help. The whole hot rod genre was started by veterans returning from World War II, still needing that adrenaline rush. Today's wounded warfighters are no different. Our dream is that they get into an adapted and customized vehicle from Warfighter Made. We want them to be able to go places with no limits and enjoy life to the fullest. You take America's finest from all walks of life, and then you give them a common goal. It's amazing what can be accomplished. Guys get out of the military, when they get into the civilian world, they start looking for different avenues to recapture that camaraderie that they need. I got your back if you got mine. We have guys that are catastrophically injured, like our own Vice President Dom, who's a triple amputee. We have guys that are dealing with those invisible injuries of post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury. So it's those guys that we try and bring in and say, hey, I understand what you're going through.
Cars are flying everywhere. The tent just is impossible to set up.
It's a dust storm, and you gotta just sit around for a few hours.
Get out of here, huh? Gotta love Utah.
I think we probably dug 6 new hits in one day, maybe.
We literally can't go out to build something without finding something else. Like, we go out to one thing, and on our way back, we have to stop and check out more things.
The potential for what you could do out here is insane, but it's a lot of work. And if you're not willing to do it, you don't come up here.
That little scare each time you do something new. I think anybody who does this sport has to enjoy that part of it.
Before the grand stage, before the big lights, before motocross and supercross, motorcycle racing in America was a bunch of guys in the desert taking a break from sipping beers to race from A to B. These routes are still celebrated at the National Hare and Hound Series, desert racing events where over 150 competitors start with a wave of a flag and gang rush at fifth gear wide open toward a single trail, marked with a ribbon.
Dude, the only downhill, the only like 14-foot downhill, I hit it wide open and flew off that thing and it scared me. Yeah, I hit it wide open too. You were like, when I was spinning it, I'm spinning it too.
It's racing at its purest form. Just pit it and beat everyone else.
The adrenaline really gets pumping when you're on the starting line and the banner's up. You got 2 minutes to kind of relax and think about what's going to happen when the banner drops. We can't pre-run the course. We only get to pre-run the start, which is a mile to 3 miles. And after that, it's just blind racing and following ribbons.
dogs. Or you could see it like the companies are pit bulls and the union people are like, you know, cats with 9 lives and they're crafty. But now you have a situation where cats and dogs are living in harmony. What is going on, right? Well, it's President Trump. And I believe he can do the same when you look at race relations and getting along with allies. And I just really believe that he's someone who can unite people. And on day one, he's having union people and business leaders marching in the same direction. I mean, that is incredible. And so once again, he's suffocating the Democrat Party. And once he gets moving with Ben Carson on the inner cities, and that train starts rolling down a track, it's going to be amazing. And so suffocating the Democrat Party really is a good idea, because nationalism really is about the nation, and there's some elements for anyone and everyone. It's a magnet, attracting people from the left and the right, because it's not about ideology, it's about the nation. And whenever they say, hey, Donald Trump is far right, the more they keep saying that, when he suddenly comes out with something that is kind of left-wing, it's like, what's happening? It does not compute. Well, you gotta stop thinking about Donald Trump as a right-winger. He's not. And he's not a Democrat. He's a nationalist. So it's like a buffet, you know, there's some elements from the left you can use, some elements from the right. Basically, you're doing whatever fits best for the nation and putting America first. It's really very simple, right? I mean, think about it. And that's why you have union people and business leaders marching in the same direction for the good of the nation, and everybody gets something out of it. And when the country does well, you do well. And so Democrats don't have a message, and basically President Trump is kind of usurping their traditional base. And they're like, hey, what's going on? But at the same time, they're so confused and they're infighting. Now you have all these crazies running to be the chair of the DNC, including Keith Mohammed Allison, this Muslim. And I was just imagining the ticket for 2020. Elizabeth Warren, Keith Allison, 2020. You have this psychopath granny, Elizabeth Warren, and then this Muslim Brotherhood guy, and that's going to appeal to a lot of Democrats or Americans in general? I don't think so. Now, these two are extremely overrated, so it would be great if that's a ticket. It would just be a slam dunk for Trump-Pence 2020. But it's kind of fun to see all the infighting on the left, but I'm going to warn you again. They're gonna make a comeback, but I think they're just digging a deeper hole, so later, at some point, they will crawl out of the hole, barely, but they will be back. Okay, so don't underestimate the enemy. They're like zombies, right? I mean, you really have to do what President Trump is doing right now, is just suffocate them, usurp everything they have, and even when they make a comeback, they have no empire left. It's all gone. It's all Trump land.
Say, all right, all right, all right.
You're not going to believe this, but I got another one of those emails from the Democratic Party. Pitch in today to help Democrats fight back against the Trump administration and Republicans in Congress. Gabor, Donald Trump spent the first few days of his presidency focused on the most important issue facing our country, the size of the crowd at his inauguration. Fewer people in attended Trump's swearing in than either of President Obama's inaugurations. Far fewer people were in town for Friday's inauguration than for the Women's March on Washington on Saturday. Those are the facts. Really. You guys gotta stop spinning this bullcrap. Ultimately, inauguration crowd size doesn't really matter. But the way that Trump and his senior aides have reacted does. If Trump and his minions are so quick to lie about something as petty as crowd size, how can we trust them to tell the truth about anything? Look in the mirror. He just described exactly what you Democrats do. Perfectly. When Donald went to CIA quarters on Saturday and stood in front of the wall of 117 stars honoring fallen CIA officers, he didn't talk about the important work they did or their sacrifice. He didn't offer an apology for comparing the intelligence community to Nazis. He denounced media reports and boasted about his own inflated sense of the size of his crowds. In his first official press briefing, the new White House press secretary, Sean Spencer, attacked reporters who accurately reported on the low turnout, presented the administration preferred crowd photos, which obscured all the empty space, and then stormed off without answering any questions. And when confronted with reality, Trump campaign manager Kellyanne Conway coined the Orwellian phrase, quote, alternative facts, to describe the administration's lies about the inauguration crowd. Gabor, this is about far more than Donald Trump's bruised ego. He made the media one of the villains in his campaign, and now, with the full weight of the White House behind him, he is trying to discredit unbiased, objective reporting about his administration and reinvent lies as alternative facts. You guys are really effed up. It's the first step to avoiding accountability. You mean like Barack Hussein Obama's accountability when he said, if you like your doctors, you can keep them? How about when he said, if you like your health plan, you can keep that too? How about when he talked about shovel-ready jobs, and then he said those jobs aren't shovel-ready? How about Solyndra? The list of failed policies is endless with you worthless, whacked-out Democrats. If you saved your payment information, your donation will go through immediately, quickly, donate $3, $10, $25, $50, $100, or any other amount. Thanks, Eric. Eric Walker, Deputy Communication Director, Democratic National Committee. P.S. Want to do more to help us spread the word? Sign up as a factivist, and we'll send you regular updates with facts you can share on Facebook and Twitter. I don't know how long it's going to take before the Trump administration shuts down these lies coming out of the DNC. But I think it's inevitable, don't you? Good morning, Vietnam. You know, now that we've been, taken over by communism, maybe I should just start every video with that from now on. Just call this Vietnam. Because it kind of is now. We found out that there wasn't a lot of Chinese support initially
for the North Vietnamese government. China was very weak at the time. What little they had as far as arms went came from, oh, guess where, Russia. You know, just one of them interesting things, like, that we didn't know about there, and that we didn't know about North Korea.
Earlier today, back on the campaign trail at a huge, massive rally in Florida. Also tonight, WikiLeaks released an email from Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. Look at this subject line: needy Latinos and one easy call. Wow. Joining us now with reaction from the Trump Organization, Donald Trump's son, Eric Trump. How are you?
Hey,
Good to
Sean.
see you.
How are you?
I saw you had tweeted that out earlier today, so obviously you're paying attention to this. Imagine your father talked about needy Latinos.
When does it end? You know, first it's deplorables, then it's irredeemables, it was super predators
Rednecks.
before then, today it was rednecks, now we're talking about Christians, evangelicals were getting killed earlier today by these emails, now it's needy Latinos. It is, you know, they talk about us being the party of bigotry and the party of hate, and it's not until Julian Assange comes along and obviously releases these emails via WikiLeaks.
The real Democrat. Remember the original release on the DNC? What did it show? It showed racism, sexism, misogyny, anti-Semitic language in there. And that the very arguments they make against Republicans every 4 years, that's them.
Look what else it showed. It showed corruption in Haiti. It showed that Donna Brazil was giving Hillary questions, you know, ahead of time for these debates. I mean,
Conspiring against Bernie.
It truly shows the true level of corruption in our government. I mean, and in the Democratic Party. I mean, it's actually very, very scary. And this is serious stuff. And it's actually a real shame that most of the mainstream media isn't paying more attention to it. You do, but most of the mainstream media isn't paying attention to this because this undermines democracy. It undermines the way of our life.
Eric, I have been brutalized by the mainstream media. I'm a commentator. I say I'm a conservative. I'm supporting your dad for president. I'll proudly pull the lever for him. But NBC, CNBC, Univision, CNN, MSNBC fed questions to Hillary. You know, the New York Times, Boston Globe, Washington Post, they're colluding with the campaign. And they're going to criticize me, and I'm honest?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got corruption in the Republican establishment, the Democratic establishment, the media establishment. Your dad's up against a lot of establishment.
And by the way, this is corruption of the worst form. And this is corruption that costs this country trillions of dollars. This is corruption that's cost this country lives. This is corruption that compromises national security. I mean, this is real stuff. I mean, this is real stuff. This is actions. This isn't words. And people have to be held accountable. This is the commander-in-chief of the
How do
free
you hold
world.
them accountable but to elect your dad?
Well, you know, when you look at the interesting little complicated webs, right, where you have, you know, the sons and daughters of major, you know, the CEOs of these major news networks, and they're working at the Clinton Foundation. You have all these little intricate webs. It's difficult, and they sow these ties for this purpose. They do it for their own political gain.
And here's what's happened in the meantime, the stats I give out on the economy.
Sure.
Okay, 13 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty, the lowest labor participation rate since the 70s, 95 million Americans out of the labor force, worst recovery since the 40s, lowest home ownership rate in 51 years, 1 in 5 American families, now 1 person in that family working, and we've doubled the debt.
Sure. And they don't want to report that. I don't want to report that.
I say it every night.
How about the scariest thing? The fact that median incomes in this country haven't gone up in 15 years. Median incomes haven't gone up. And actually, Sean, they've gone down because if you think about it, all of our expenses are higher, right? Our taxes are higher. Our utilities are higher. Healthcare, Obamacare is a disaster.
Obamacare's up $4,100 per family.
And
since
think
he's been
about that.
president.
So if you have median incomes, if people haven't gotten a raise in this nation in 15 years, and all of your expenses are higher, it's no wonder why people are working 2 and 3 jobs just to try and get back.
You know that there was a stat that came out the other day, 1 in 7 Americans don't have $1,000 in savings. They're 2 paychecks away from being one of the 13 million Americans on food stamps.
Yeah, and we have $20 trillion worth of national debt, which is going up exponentially. We've got $1.4 trillion in student debt. I mean, it's really incredible.
How does the country absorb all of this in 27 days?
Oh, listen, I think we've started an amazing movement. My father started an amazing movement. I mean, I've been in every single state. I just got back from Colorado yesterday. I had an amazing couple days there. I was in Maine. I was in New Hampshire. I was in everywhere. There's a movement out there, Sean. People get it. People want...
See the crowds.
People want
There's
this country... People want this country back. They're sick of corrupt politicians.
situation in Chicago, man. I'm from Chicago, born and raised there. I ran those streets of Chicago and changed my life. But I want to kind of make people aware of some things that you don't know, because you've never really been out there, then you wouldn't know it. And it's going to be hard to believe, but myself, for a fact, and several others that I ran with know this to be the truth. Growing up in Chicago in the early 90s, the same situation was happening. I've been in Chicago where a person came into my house and knocked on the door to come and get me early in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, and said, come with me, man, it's a crate of guns in the alley. And I got up and ran out there, and sure enough, there was a crate of guns. And during that time when we in it, you're not thinking about where did the guns just come from. You know, you never think about that type of stuff, like where did the guns come from and why are they here. But now that I'm older, I can kind of tell you that it's a diabolical plot. Nothing is stopped. The guns are still there. The guns are still being placed in these different strategic communities. It's a plan. It's not out in Bridgeview. It's not out in, Westmount. They're putting it in the hundreds, for sure. Yeah, they putting it on 55th. They putting it in Inglewood. 6:30 in the morning, while older people that's at work, you sleep. You're not outside.
The trade system completely and disintegrate the global economic space. These issues affect the interests of all states and influence the future of the world economy as a whole. That is why we propose discussing them within the UN, WTO, and G20. Contrary to the policy of exclusiveness, Russia proposes harmonizing regional economic projects. I refer to the so-called integration of integrations based on universal and transparent rules of international trade. As an example, I would like to cite our plans to interconnect the Eurasian Economic Union and China's initiative of the Silk Road Economic Belt. We still believe that harmonizing the integration processes within the Eurasian Economic Union and the European Union is highly promising. Ladies and gentlemen, the issues that affect the future of all people include the challenge of global climate change.
In the middle, that's the thing that pushes you. How do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of your physical appearance? In terms of your health? Do you take care of yourself? Are you allowing yourself to get overweight and out of shape? Are you conscious of your health? Are you watching the food that you take into your body? Do you make a deliberate effort to exercise? It was George Burns. He said, we cannot help getting older, but we don't have to get old. And many of us get old before our time because we don't take time to take care of ourselves. Your environment is a very good indicator. On a scale of 1 to 10, is it what you want it to be? Do you find it desirable? Are you satisfied? The job or career that you're involved in. Someone said that 85% of the American public are unhappy with their jobs. Are you spending 8 hours a day just doing time? Doing something that you don't find challenging, that does not make you stretch mentally, that does not stimulate you, that does not inspire you. Something that you don't find a sense of fulfillment in it. If you're doing that day in and day out, it has to affect how you feel about yourself, your level of motivation. Your relationships. What kind of impact is it having on your life? Is it nourishing or is it a toxic relationship? Does it drain you or does it build you up? Ask yourself that. How motivated are you to do something about it? Your contribution, your actions. What are you giving? Many people will leave the universe without a trace. No one will know they were here. And in fact, under their name, we could put under there, not used up. Will anybody know that you came this way? What contribution are you giving? What will you leave? What will be different because you came this way? Just stop for a second. Write down your why. What are you doing this for in life? If your why doesn't make you cry, then that's not your why.
Again, if your why doesn't make you cry, then that's not your why. Your why should be something so big that it moves your family tree. Your why should be something so big that it changes the whole outlook on how things are with you and your home, your family, your religion, your purpose. Think about your passion. Think about your opportunities. And that's how you find your purpose. OPP. When that why meets up with your passion, your opportunity, and your purpose, then you'll find out. The most important day in your life is the day you remember why you were born. The one commodity that is most valuable on this earth is time. Time to love, time to live. From the moment the human body is born, it begins dying. I don't think you quite caught that. Let me say it again. From the moment the human body is born, it begins dying. Some happen faster, some happen slower. Some of us help them go faster, and some of them prevent it from happening sooner than later. How many seconds, how many minutes do we waste every day doing things that are nowhere near the goals and aspirations and passions that we have inside? How many times do you go through the course of a day and realize, did I do anything I set out to do today? Write down those goals each and every day.
These nuclear reactors, they have magic, you know. Concrete too. It's magic, but it's dangerous magic, kids. If it gets out, it flies like little rocket ships through the air, like these little invisible germs through the air. And it gets in this thing called the jet stream, kids. That's a super highway of wind. It goes up, goes left, right, all the way to the earth. And then it goes into this thing called the Pacific Ocean. Now, when it shook, it cracked, and that magic come out, kids. So this company called TEPCO, who's really Westinghouse, which is really General Electric, which is really the Department of Energy, which is really the Lawrence Livermore Lab, which is really the United States, you, the taxpayer, kids, to your own demise. Cancer's good, radiation's so we can treat you for cancer. Oh, Huntsman Chemical. Oh, we have 357 plants around the world making styrofoam, putting benzene in a thing. But now we have research to cure cancer, so we'll suck all your money out you at the end of your life while you're dying after we give you cancer. Okay, kids? But here's what happened. Instead of just letting for the first 5 days, it plumed into the air. It plummeted, it got into the jet stream, it come over North America. Now what's North America? We have 7 continents. If you're Europe, we count as 5 continents. This big one here, this thing called California. Now if you get a map, can you kids show me, if you put your finger on the map, what California is? Here's Japan, here's California, here's Alaska, here's Washington, Oregon, all across this. And the wind goes like this, kids. So it blew into the jet stream, and when it rains, it comes down on you, and it gets into the cows. When the cows eat the grass, that they really stand in a feedlot, you shit this deep, and they feed them hormones infected with the grass. Then you drink the milk, kids, and it goes into your body. Or then you breathe the air as it goes into your body. Or then you eat anything. It goes into it, these little invisible rocket ships. They had RadNet, so what's the answer? Radiation detector. Our government will save us. We have this network to save us from all this radiation, kids. Okay, we'll save us. Gina McCarthy was head of I'm sorry, I can't believe it. RadNet didn't work. I can't believe it just quit working 3 days after Fukushima happened. And then President Obama and John Holdren and his scientific team, who really is eugenics to the what's eugenics? Oh, that's okay, kid. That's nothing, kid. They're just worried about everybody sucking out their 401k out of when all the 85 baby boomers sucking everything out of Wall Street. They just want to make sure they have a little bit left. Oh, and I'll tell you another thing, kids. If your kids are real good when you buy your gold bars, You can buy an underground bunker and you can live down with the 1% and the Illuminati oligarchs and go fly to their secret planet. They have a secret planet. That's what these guys, Glenn Beck says, Alex Jones says, and for every time you buy a bunker and you think you can live in the bunker and with your gold bars and lick your gold bars and stay under there with the rodents and come out 500,000 yards when the free market cleans it up, you get another cookie. And that's Glenn Beck's Fox, all you kids. And you can take your AK-47, you shoot. It's that cheap $8 Russian-made machine gun that everybody was against. Yes, that's what you use. That's what you'll eat. You can lick the barrel. You can eat your gold bars when the radiation goes into your body because the free market will clean it up in 500,000 years, kids. Well, what happened? They poured water onto these 3 cores because they were pluming up in the air. There's no way to shut it up. It's called China syndrome, kids, because if you drill a hole here, in their eyes it'll come out China. But Japan's not China, so it'll come out South America. Will that really happen? No one knows. As they say at the Lord's Livermore Lab, they say they're bringing star power to Earth. Yes, yay! For 40 years, yay, we got pilots, we put in our car, we have starships so far, we're all filthy, stinking rich. We suck up resources and just live happily ever after. Yay, yay, yay. We have organs they buy, and if you got so much money, you can just stay alive forever in your underground bunker, right? Yes, Fox News will give you another cookie. So here's what happened, kids. They poured water onto it. Guess what, kids? Guess what, kids? They caught a fish very early after. That's 16,000 times the so-called safe limit of plutonium in its flesh. Oh, yes, kids. Fish swim. I know cans from wood holes and all these people in the banana, they say it doesn't. No one lives in the ocean. That was canned from wood holes, very words. And how on Caldicott's poet, no one lives in the ocean, right? Oh, the greatest food basket in the world. Fish swim, kids. Then we have these currents. What's a current, kids? The current is a river, trade winds that blow. And we have currents in the ocean. The ocean's very dynamic. And we have sea lions, and they swim sometimes thousands of miles a day. And the nets those fishermen catch them with their nets. And they put those nice fish in, cut their heads off, and got it. And we get fish sticks, and we get fish burgers at Wendy's and McDonald's, kids. But they won't hurt you because that fish doesn't swim. But, oh, does it swim? Fish swim, kids. Currents flow. Well, how come no marine biologists have told us anything? Aren't there hundreds and hundreds of marine biologists all over the United States? No, kids, because they go out because they live in a glass house in their pyramid because they think they're going to be the Illuminati in the future. And they're going to build a spaceship to go away. And they have this thing, this magic. They have this magic called cold fusion. It will eat it with nanotechnology. It will just eat it up, kid. Oh, whoops, we tried that for 1,000 days. Sorry, John Holdren down Lawrence, Florida, they said sorry, it didn't work. Oh, so we're going to kill the dolphins and the fish and the sea lions and the moose and the two-liter beer-drinking mammals, kids. So here's the bottom line, kiddos. Yeah, that protectionism is bad because we just signed a new trade agreement in Indonesia. Because in Indonesia, 37 cents an hour is way too much to pay in China.
Sometimes I will, because I work in this field and I do it all the time, I will sometimes think to myself, okay, well, if I were to cross over now, where would I want to kick myself in the pants? Where did I not love enough? Where am I closing off? Where am I being a jerk? Where can I do better? Like if I were in spirit, which is pure love, where could I do better? And so you can sort of use this as a bit of a motivational thing, and that's why, one of the reasons why I'm grateful for spirit is because that's what spirit has taught me, and that's one of the blessings of being a psychic, is that you get to overhear these really beautiful conversations and see things, and you get to kind of absorb all that and learn things that you probably wouldn't have accessed just through your own energy, you know. So Number three, they really don't want their friends and their family to worry about them. They don't want them to feel any type of regret about their passing, being there for their passing, not being there for their passing. They don't want them to have any type of pain or negativity around them or their passing at how much painful, depressive thoughts or being too hard on ourselves can hold us back in our life from really achieving what we want to achieve. And they are in better dancing condition than they've ever been before. I can tell you that. And a lot of the times, especially if people have struggled with a lot of illnesses where they didn't have a lot of mobility or they just really didn't feel like themselves, they are absolutely ecstatic when they cross over, because now they can come around and they can not be miserable, and they can actually infuse you with their energy and connect with you as they truly are, which is a great joy for our relatives who have crossed over. So they really don't want you to get stuck in anything fear-related around how they crossed over. No guilt, no shame. They don't want you kicking yourself. They want you to go into appreciation and gratitude and think about the things that you loved about that person, because that's all that really matters in the higher densities. That's all that really translates is the joy. That's all you really take with you as real in the higher realms. Anything else just becomes kind of a joke. And any negativity just becomes an example of where you were not connected to yourself. And it's not even really felt, or it's not even viewed the same as when we can find joy in things and gratitude in things and the blessings in things. So what they always say across the board to people is, please remember the best times. Please remember me at my best. And please allow me to be a shining memory and a shining force